Is it just a coincidence that we witnessed a ring of fire eclipse just as the Great Middle East War begins? Michael Snyder reports. We sure have been experiencing a lot of coincidences lately, haven't we? On Friday, Israel forces conducted their first localized raids inside Gaza. Then on Saturday, the path of a spectacular ring of fire solar eclipse marched across the continental United States. Is it just a coincidence that this eclipse has happened just as the Great Middle East War is commencing? Throughout human history, eclipses have often coincided with tragic events and major historical turning points. For example, earlier today I came across an article that took a look back at the World War I eclipse. Such was the case a century ago this week, August 21st, 1914, when a total solar eclipse crossed over Eastern Europe shortly after the outbreak of World War I, known as the War to End All Wars, which of course it didn't. World War I would introduce humanity to the horrors of modern warfare, including the introduction of armored tanks, aerial bombing, and poison gas. So is the Ring of Fire eclipse that we just witnessed related to the war in the Middle East? I don't know, but it sure was spectacular. First came the darkening skies, then the crescent-shaped shadows on the ground, and finally an eruption of cheers by crowds that gathered Saturday along the narrow path of a rare Ring of Fire eclipse of the sun. It was a spectacular show for millions of people across Americas as the moon moved into place and blocked out all but a brilliant circle of the sun's outer edge. It could be seen throughout much of the continental United States, and the direct path of this eclipse crossed over the states of Oregon, Utah, Nevada, Idaho, Colorado, New Mexico, Arizona, and Texas. A partial solar eclipse was visible, weather permitting, from much of the Americas, with the 125-mile path of annularity crossing parts of Oregon, Utah, Nevada, Idaho, Colorado, New Mexico, Arizona, and Texas, before moving on to Mexico and southern countries ending in Brazil. Photojournalist Patrick Fallon captured this stunning view of the Ring of Fire effect of the annular solar eclipse while documenting a view from Albuquerque, New Mexico, which NASA used as one of its base of operations for its eclipse live stream. This Ring of Fire eclipse, quote-unquote, was the second in a series of 3 eclipses that will combine to form a giant aleph over America. The aleph will finally be completed by the Great American Eclipse on April 8, 2014, and I will have much more to say about this on my upcoming book. Aleph is Alpha, the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet and the Greek alphabet. So in this article, I want to focus on the events that are currently transpiring in the Middle East. According to New York Times, 3 senior Israeli military officials have told the newspaper that the IDF is preparing to invade Gaza Strip. The Israeli military preparing to invade Gaza Strip soon, with tens of thousands of soldiers ordered to capture Gaza City, destroy the enclave's current leadership, according to 3 senior Israeli military officers who outline unclassified details about the plan. Now, needless to say, this will not be an easy offensive. Hamas has constructed hundreds of miles of tunnels underneath Gaza, and there is an extremely congested city sitting right on top of all of these tunnels. So the IDF is literally going to have to advance inch by inch in some cases because there will be constant dangers all around them. The operation risks locking Israel into months of bloody urban combat, both above ground and in a warren of tunnels, a fraught offensive that Israel has long avoided because it involves fighting in a narrow, tightly packed sliver of land populated by more than 2 million people. Israeli officials have warned that Hamas used Palestinian non-combatants as human shields. Now, in addition, the Israelis will be under constant pressure to minimize civilian casualties. It's very, very difficult to fight a war and try to ensure the safety and comfort of vast numbers of civilians at the same time. On Sunday, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu agreed to restore water service to southern Gaza. Energy Minister Israel Katz said that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and U.S. President Joe Biden had come to an agreement on Sunday where Israel would return to supplying water to southern Gaza, Reuters reported. The decision to once again partially resume the supply of water to Palestinian enclave was in line with Israeli policy on Gaza, the energy minister noted. Israel has also been dropping a vast number of leaflets into Gaza warning civilians to flee to the south. But Hamas is actually putting up roadblocks in desperate attempt to keep people from leaving. Why would they do that? So they need to use women and children because they use them as shields, they say. Now, at least in one case, Hamas actually confiscated car keys and IDs in order to keep local residents where they are. Can you imagine? You can't use your car. Now, in the conversation, the resident tells the officer that Hamas confiscated people's personal belongings, including their car keys and their IDs, to prevent them from heading south for safety as they were instructed by the IDF. It's further evidence that Hamas organization is preventing Palestinians from evacuating south to protect themselves. Now, we knew that the apocalyptic conflict would be coming to the Middle East, and now it is here. Israel is about to send thousands of troops into Gaza, and that will set off a chain of events that nobody is going to be able to stop. This is by Michael Snyder. He says, about the author, my name is Michael, and my brand new book entitled End Times is now available on Amazon. In addition to my new book, I've written 6 other books available on Amazon, including 70 Year Apocalypse, Lost Prophecies of the Future of America, The Beginning of the End, and Living a Life That Really Matters, Commissions Earned. When you purchase any of these books, you help to support the work that I'm doing, and one way that you can help is by sending copies as gifts to family and friends. Time is short, and I need help getting these warnings into the hands of as many people as possible. I've also started a brand new Substack newsletter, and I encourage you to subscribe so you won't miss any of the latest updates. I've published thousands of articles on the Economic Collapse blog, End of the American Dream, and the most important news. And the articles that I publish on those sites are republished on dozens of other prominent websites all over the globe. I always freely have and happily allow others to republish my articles on their own websites, but I also ask that they include this about the author section with each article. The material contained in this article is for general information purposes only, and readers should consult licensed professionals before making legal, business, financial, or health decisions. I encourage you to follow me on social media on Facebook and Twitter, and any way that you can share these articles with others is definitely a great help. These are such troubled times and people need hope. John 3:16 tells us about the hope that God has given us through Jesus Christ. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. If you have not already done so, I strongly urge you to invite Jesus Christ to be your Lord and Savior today. This is by Michael Snyder on End of the American Dream. And let's see if, obviously, we did have a total eclipse of the sun back in 1999, and we had a very big earthquake in Turkey and Athens, Greece, a few weeks after the eclipse. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Please support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.